All right, welcome back everyone. I am the Dungeon Master, and today we are rejoining the party of the Dragons of the Frozen Seas. And last time we left off, they were in search of Scotty's people and Jalivi's people. Um, they had traveled north seeking an ancient artifact that would help them to basically stave off this awful winter, and it has led them far into the north here. And as Scotty and Eric and Jalivi and Ulf were traveling, they encountered Kex, who had a Ursine, a bear folk companion named Orist. And Kex, you actually are wearing a whale tooth necklace that uh, Orist had given you as a symbol of your guys' friendship from traveling together and surviving in the Arctic climate here. That'll become important later on. I'm just setting something up. So, as you guys traveled to the northern shore, you followed the tracks of Scotty's Angel Grundian people and found that they had set sail into the unknown polar north, and it is always night now. You have traveled far onto a tilted axis planet, and the sun has not risen for so many days that you guys are disoriented and unsure of what time it is. Your sleep pattern is becoming erratic. It's starting to affect Star and Veter a little bit as well. As you guys found a boat that you were able to fit onto, you unfortunately had to leave Hafnir and the Vikings behind, as well as Orist, because there was simply not enough room. There's barely enough room for you guys. You're very cramped on a very small boat, paddling across rough, ice-ridden waters. This is a very harrowing and dangerous journey that you are undertaking, and you are miserable within the first few hours. Rain soaked, well, not rain, but, you know, ocean water, and it's freezing cold to begin with. Um, just completely making you guys miserable. However, Scotty uses her spiritualistic powers to make it so that it eases the worst effects of the freezing water, and you guys are able to muster enough strength to keep rowing. However, as you're rowing, all of a sudden, you all roll for perception. The scariest words a DM can ever say.
Everyone gets +1 from my senses aura. I can't spot for crap, but everyone,
But I can help you guys.
it's more for the.
I'm just glad that you don't just randomly say roll for perception and then there be nothing there.
Oh, I hate that. That's a bad DM trait in my book.
Eric, you rolled diplomacy. Now you roll perception.
Okay, so as you guys are rowing, Kex is standing at the bow of the ship just loving it. With Scotty's magic, he's able to withstand the ocean spray, and he feels just like Jack Sparrow or Captain Morgan, just alive with life. And Scotty is kind of preoccupied with making sure everybody's okay. Eric has visions in his head as he begins to use his druidic magic, just like a druidic chant basically, to go into a meditation, and he starts getting visions of himself turning into different animal creatures. And Jalivy and Ulf, you guys are kind of looking out the back of the ship there. And as you're looking out the back of the ship, you suddenly see in the distant torchlight something bobbing up and down on the waves.
What is that strange orb of light following us? Or behind us, whichever, I can't really...
It's not light, it's dark. And as Jalivy looks closer, you can see the telltale cloak of your people drifting in the water alongside it.
Cloak? Like they have a magical cloak?
No, it's just
Mag-
like the cloak that your people wear, you know, like the Roman soldiers had a specific cloak, like your people have like a
Okay,
bearskin cloak that identifies them very readily.
okay.
How
And
rough are the
I...
seas and how cold is the water?
Medium rough and like so cold that there's literally like ice in places.
Well,
Gonna yell out, point out, I think I see something, and start yelling to turn the boat around so we can go get a looky at it. Or reverse, it might be easier.
okay. So, can I tell it's just... Can I tell since it's a 19 if it's just a cloak or if it's a body?
It looks like a body and a cloak to you.
Alright. How far are we from it right now?
About 20 feet or so, 30 feet or so. However, as you're rowing, suddenly you thump into something else, and along the side of the boat scrapes another frozen body that just, it's obviously your people, and it just floats by. And up ahead, you see a barrel and some other flotsam.
Okay, so with the barrel and the flotsam said this shipwrecked somewhere, so we gotta be on the lookout. There's something hidden in the water, or we're close to land. I don't know which, but regardless, be on the lookout. Be cautious because something wrecked the ship.
Good eyes, Jalivy. Does not bode well.
I'm gonna make a perception check to see if I can hear anything.
I'm gonna roll a knowledge nature to see if I have any knowledge of anything that might be around these parts.
Yeah, so Ulf, you just hear the crashing of the waves, and deep in the distance, you hear a faint cry for help.
Quiet, I think I hear someone. And if I can tell what direction it's coming from, I'm going to point that direction and tell them to start running.
All right, and so Eric, as far as things around here, like all of the things that you would expect to find in a typical Arctic environment, you know, sperm whales, giant squid, walruses, and of course dire versions of a lot of that stuff, you know, so.
Any one of those could have possibly caused the ship to shipwreck.
Can we get close enough to one of the bodies with some caution to see if there's any marks, like bite marks, scratch marks?
The bodies all look as if they died clinging to flotsam and paddling to save their lives.
Okay.
So as you approach the person, she is shivering and crying and says, "Oh, please, please save me."
Gonna toss her a line and be ready to heal her.
Okay,
Or
we
warmer.
can't fit her in the boat without unless I put a mage thing up. So I guess if you were gonna save her, then I'm gonna have to put a.
Correct.
Do we have
As
to
we
warm without starting a fire?
No
No.
fire on the boat.
Yeah,
on
set the boat on
so
fire.
cramped, we'll burn
without
ourselves.
starting a fire.
as we see her, she's still alive in the water. Is that right?
Yes, but freezing to death.
Scotty says, "Beware, she may not be what she seems. Be careful. Let's rescue her, but be careful. Most people would be dead in moments.
Yep,
She
that's
may be
true.
something else."
First, I'll cast floating disc, and if we're not dead, then I'll do check magic after my next.
All right, so you cast floating disc, and there's now a floating disc following alongside you.
Put her on there, but you know, does somebody have something to?
Well-
To I don't know, a potion or something. Does anybody have potions or something? A sleeping draught or
Let's
something?
try to fish her out of the water. Can we get her
I
out of
thought
the
we
water
already did
first?
that.
Yeah. Can we actually just slide the disc under her and lift her up out of the water?
Yeah, yeah, you got her out of the water. She's on the floating disc.
I think we should keep her on the floating disc and keep her away from the boat for the time being.
Yeah, well, she can't fit her anyway. So
All right, so she's soaking wet and floating along beside you in the freezing cold and is continuing to freeze to death.
I'm going to
Somebody
assist
heal
anybody
her.
that makes a heal check. I only have a +6.
Yeah, it's clear we need to get her clothes off and wrap her up and bundle her, and that's the only chance for her not to die.
Kex will
Correct.
swap places with her.
Ulf,
So
Jalevi, you two are nominated in the back since you're not rowing.
right.
All right, strip her down, wrap her in one of our blankets, and
You need to.
What?
Go ahead.
Scotty, what were you gonna say?
Oh, body heat is the only thing that can spare her, says Scotty. But just
I volunteer.
Scotty will also do a burst of healing energy, positive energy to all of us to restore our fatigue from rowing and just cheer everybody up. I'll roll it, okay?
Okay.
You want to put your endure elements on her?
Who are you talking
Well,
to?
think it's-
Scotty can only do that 3 times a day, tops.
Alrighty. I'm gonna huddle up with her with a blanket.
Alrighty. So we're floating along, but you know we've got the wrong person on the floating disc. But it's
Yeah, Kex is trading places so that
oh,
Shivers can have a better spot.
And she
Okay.
thanks him profusely. Thank you.
and
Kex is far too clueless, so he just continues to dance.
And there's a healing channel from Scotty that's 6 hit points of healing or 12 of fatigue to everybody.
I'm not.
We should all we were all showing maximum because we just had a long rest, but we've also been rowing in the cold for a long time.
Yes, your
can
your
say that
stamina
to
is
me.
definitely lowered, but not by more than 12, so you all regain all your stamina.
I have frost. I have cold +5 resistance.
And
that's
she
why
wasn't
Jillebi
rowing.
Doesn't,
Right.
And that's
So
why
that's-
Julevi doesn't get the Endure Elements spell.
Right.
It needs to go to the people who are. She has one left, and it needs to go to someone who's dying.
Yep.
Is this
I'm
woman gonna live?
dying. Now that you did the, I mean, that was magical healing that you channeled, actual divine positive energy, so it healed her magically and she's no longer dying.
Which means that she's not evil.
But because she is still like freezing, that she's not like out of the woods as far as like possibly dying still in the future. She's just not currently dying anymore, but if she stays out in the cold, it's not going to be good for her. She's not adapted to this, and you guys were only able to throw, what did you say, a cloak around her?
A blanket. He threw a
A,
blanket
a
around her.
blanket, yeah.
And I'm gonna throw a cloak around her too.
Yeah, so she's got a cloak and a blanket, but you guys are out on the Arctic Ocean, so yeah.
I ask
We
her,
should
where are
bring
the
them
rest
in.
of your people at?
Where are your rebel friends? She says the ship it was attacked. I don't know what happened. They're all dead.
Did you get a look at whatever it was that attacked your ship?
It was huge and dark, and it had a giant mouth.
Well, that could be any number of things.
It could be a giant squid. All right.
Did it have tentacles?
I don't know. Everybody was just sailing along, and then all of a sudden we were hearing this awful noise, and water was everywhere, and people were jumping from the ship, and
Where did the attack come from? What direction?
from the water.
Water. All right. Well.
How many
Okay.
how many ships were there? Was it just your ship, or were there other
We
ships?
were the last ship. We had saved everyone who had crashed on the iceberg.
Where were you going to?
We don't know. We were following your father. Well, not your father, but she looks at Scotty and says, "We were following your father."
Was the father on the ship?
Well, yeah.
All right. And all right. So
Scotty asks, were there any other small ships, small boats aboard that ship?
Lifeboats?
Yes.
Yeah.
how many?
Any
I don't know. I'm just a villager.
Let's look around and see if we can find signs of the wreckage or maybe even a lifeboat.
Or survivors?
Right.
All right. So yeah, if we look for maybe a small boat that didn't get sunk, then maybe we can look for other survivors and pluck them out of the water. But somebody should keep guard in case something attacks us while we're trying to gather boats and survivors.
So, after a while of paddling around in basically
Do you know how far away it was that you were traveling to?
no.
Alrighty.
After a while of paddling around in basically a big circle, you guys do indeed come across a lifeboat that was capsized with a body still clinging, frozen to the side of it after it had overturned from everybody trying to climb on board.
All right.
Does the boat look to be seaworthy?
Yeah, they just dumped everybody out and everybody like froze to death.
Check the
Scott-
body.
Scotty
Journal.
says, I will go into the water and write it and get it ready.
Okay.
At which point, Scotty strips down, dives into the Arctic water, swims over to the lifeboat, knocks the body loose. Does it have any, of course she'd be totally dead without her protective magic by now. Any sign of oars or something we can row with?
No, unfortunately the paddles were lost when it was overturned.
And did our boat have 2 paddles or 4?
4.
Excellent. So after the boat is rigged up and righted and she's going to empty the water as best she can, Scotty will come back to our boat, climb in, and then get our poor refugee, who is still freezing probably, and curl up with her very closely to keep her warm, since Scotty is kept magically warm.
Right. And somebody, we can split up now. Somebody can row Scotty and the townsfolk, and after this townsperson is a little better, maybe she can remember more and tell us what way the monster is, or or give us more details.
Ulf, she's still in danger of freezing to death. You get the other side.
All right, gonna give her a hand and
Are we splitting up into 2 boats?
Yes.
Without Jalevi's magic, I think we couldn't fit everybody in this boat, in one boat.
We could not. That's why I did it.
Yeah, good thinking. When that ran out, we'd just have to toss someone in the water. Good thing we found a boat.
Yep. Unfortunately, the bear thing was, I think, over 300 pounds, or I could have taken him with this, I think is what I got told.
Yeah. He
But I
weighs
don't
like
think-
half a ton.
Right. So,
He would have been very warm, though.
yep. So I think we should split up and scout the waters for whatever this monster is this townsperson was talking about, and see if we can kill it and ambush it, split up.
Can we try to sneak past it without being noticed if we can?
Yeah, that too. But I mean, that yeah. So, but if it attacks, it's good. If we do have to, at least we can.
Agreed. Hopefully, too, it was hungry and got its fill, says Scott.
Well, I mean,
Bears?
yeah, I wouldn't say hopefully it got its fill. Yeah. That those
I
would be
glare-
your people that it's snacking on.
Yeah, but those would be the dead ones, and we're the live ones.
Survival of the fittest. All right,
So we could put one more in the other boat. We should split up 3 and 3.
Agreed.
Did we manage to warm this poor survivor up?
Well,
Bundled between us for a while?
yeah, I mean for now, but like also remember if you guys split up, then you will have to be rowing or the townsperson because it takes 2 people to row.
I still think we should split up, though. Jalevi or Scotty, I think one of you 2 should go into the other boat.
I'll go.
And what is yon townsperson's name?
She
is-
finally manages to, get herself roused and everything, and she says, "Oh, my name is Erna."
Erna.
Great,
Is that,
Erna.
No, just regular Erna.
So I guess Irek and Scotty can row one boat, and Kex and Jillivy the other, and we'll all rotate.
that's fine. So,
Yeah.
Let's try to keep our boats close together.
all right. So now we have some moving room, so we won't be stepping all over each other. So, all right. So we continue to head north. Well, I can't talk to the townsperson really more because I don't think you cannot actually. You probably can't hear over the seas in another boat.
We can probably hear yells.
You don't want to yell across the boats.
No.
It's too easy to be heard.
Yeah, we don't want to wake up whatever it was that caused
Yeah.
the boat to capsize.
I'm gonna do a check, either perception or survival, to see if I can find any land nearby or the direction of land.
Yeah.
As well.
And
Oh, don't you have
Scotty
a compass or
concentrates on
something?
that. Scotty concentrates on that magic amulet that seems to be attuned to her relatives.
Yes,
It would.
and you can indeed feel that there are people less than a mile ahead.
Scotty lets everyone know we're close. There are living people ahead.
Then if it must be the children of the lady we took the amulet from. So that means that is our townsfolk. But we got to be careful. So
All right, let's keep rowing and see if we can find these people.
After a quarter mile, just ask, are we getting closer?
Yeah, so as you guys approach, you can sense that there are indeed townsfolk nearby. However, as you approach, suddenly you feel the amulet. You see it begin to flicker, and there, clinging desperately to a piece of wood from the ship, is the child of whoever this amulet belonged to. You can tell as the amulet goes dark that he was breathing his last right as you approached.
Well, darn, we were too slow, guys. Oh well.
poor child. Take a moment, reflect, mourn the child.
Someone roll perception and see if we can find anyone else.
Nada.
All right, so as you continue to search, suddenly the flotsam becomes more concentrated, and you can tell that it's because it's being washed up on a rocky, ice-filled shore. You guys are approaching a landmass.
Is this
Scotty-
a proper landmass, or is this just like a giant, like iceberg or something?
It is basically impossible to tell right now, but it stretches out as far as you can see in both directions, which isn't very far because you only have the torchlight.
Oh, looks like we're gonna go to it.
Scotty ties off a rope attached to our boat and keeps bringing us. She's ready to jump into the water if need be.
Should we hide the boats in the rocky outcrop?
Yes, I think we should bring the boats ashore.
So, well, if there's like a little cove, is it a cove or because you can hide the boats?
It's like just a giant beach. It just goes on and on and on. You can see
Okay.
rather large penguins that stand about waist high, gathered off in the distance of the torchlight, and you can hear the waves rolling in to the shore, but they're like that's about it.
Yeah, I was just like, if we, the only reason I ask is because if we put the boats right at the rocks, and then they can be hidden so that they don't get destroyed by whatever we come across.
Agreed. Do we make it ashore safely?
Yeah, nothing hinders your approach to the shore, although now that you are on the shore and you know kind of spread out a little bit looking for a place to drag the boats up to and everything, you can tell that although this is a desolate land, that there is more life here than you at first realized. You can hear the squawking of giant seabirds as they fly, and you can see a huge mass of what looks like the most oversized walrus, which in case anybody doesn't know, walruses are already stupid big, you know, but like this is like the most oversized walrus you've ever seen in your life that is kind of bellowing off in the distance, just letting everybody know that he's the king of this beach.
All right.
Let's
We
give him a
approach-
wide berth.
Yeah, right. So we approach carefully. I'm gonna throw detect magic just to see. I know other than the amulet, see if there's anything that I can tell.
Nope. You don't detect any magic other than the amulet, which the amulet's magic has gone into a dormant state.
Yep. Okay. I just wanted to make sure so I won't come across in case we didn't want to. All right.
All right.
So
Once we drag the boats ashore, I'm going to roll perception and see if I see anything around here.
Yeah.
Scotty will assist with that.
Me too.
But
yeah.
instead of perception, oh, don't forget to set your chat as. Instead of perception, you should roll survival and look for any tracks.
You're gonna look for tracks, then I'll look for shelter and a place to get warm.
Well, I mean, not like that, but I'm going to take your first roll anyway, which was an 18. Plus 7 is
Thanks.
25. So, as you are looking around for tracks, you find footprints. Very odd footprints. They are the footprints of massive bears that walk upright on 2 feet. And instantly you get a vision of Kex the Copper's friend Orist, and you realize that these are tracks made by his people.
Pity we didn't have room to bring him along.
How old are the tracks?
These are made within the last day. They haven't had time to be washed away by the wind and what seems to be a constant flurry buzzing around everywhere in this land. Like not a whole lot of snow, just that real like light to where like, oh, it's snowing.
So it seems like our first order of business needs to be finding shelter or building an igloo or other shelter.
Are there any caves or coves?
You only see by the starlight one thing, and that is an endless expanse of ice and snow.
Sounds
Okay.
like building a snow igloo is the best we can do.
Yep.
Let's pick a location, pick our best spot. We can use the boats to reinforce sections of it, and let's build ourselves an igloo. Scotty has done this many times and is an expert at it.
All right. We will aid you in that.
So,
All right, set to
Scotty,
for a few hours of hard work.
yeah, Scotty, go ahead and roll a survival check in order to see how well you're able to get the rest of these people who have never built an igloo to follow your instructions and help you get something built.
None of you have ever done this before. Oh no. Well, please help, please. Anyone who can do survival, help.
Okay.
Here's the base roll before other people's aids. Not so good.
Yeah.
But maybe if other people aid, we can get it up above a 10. Good enough.
Scotty has done this many times, but has never been the one to teach anyone how to do it and is having trouble communicating it. Ulf, however,
Also, the snow and ice here isn't best.
yes, and Ulf, however, has spent a lot of time camping in the woods and is familiar with, various methods of making a lean-to fort and all of that stuff. So although this is quite different working with the ice and snow, he picks it up easily and is able to give you a +2.
Excellent. That should be a competent igloo, just enough to keep all of us warm.
Yes.
And then we'll get that fire, all that wood that's lashed in out, and set that up. And now we have a supply of firewood, good for a few days of very, very careful burning in this igloo. So
yes.
Now we have
It doesn't actually take a large fire to get the inside pretty warm.
That's right. And so she has it set up with a big flat sleeping area with angled so that the water doesn't collect in it. We set our furs and skins, and we can all have a big lay down and get warm with fire and body heat and wrapped up in some seal skins.
All right. And as you guys are resting, who is on watch?
I'm always.
Yeah, he's got that always aware thing, which I have to do my next feat, and I don't know if I have enough spells, but we were late, so oops.
So are you outside or inside?
Hello?
Yes, we heard you.
I hear you.
Yeah.
It sounded like I got disconnected for a second.
You were solid. We heard you.
Eric, are you
Perhaps
inside
we
or
should just
outside?
do a rotation. There are 5 of us plus Erna. And we're all staying in the igloo in the warm space.
Okay. So if you are inside, then roll a perception as you are on duty.
Yeah, the only ones who could stay outside would be Kex and Scotty, who both have her magic to keep them warm.
Oh, I've got endure elements too, as a skill.
Yes, I brought I got cold weather clothes, so I should.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you still don't want to be outside in the exposed elements unnecessarily. Like anytime you can get inside is going to be, a welcome respite from this bitter, biting cold. I live in
Oh,
Wisconsin, where like literally there are days where they tell you to be careful because if you breathe too much, you can freeze your lungs.
yeah, I lived in
Yeah,
Minnesota for a while. I know how that goes.
Yeah.
yeah. Cold weather clothing doesn't do it in minus 30 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, once it gets down to a certain temperature, it's just like, is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? It doesn't matter. So, Ulf, you actually managed to hear the crunching of snow as 5 heavily armed polar bear folk surround your igloo and tell you guys to come out with no weapons. Oh, wait. You don't understand them. Never mind.
What language are they speaking? I have quite a few.
Ursine.
Yeah, okay.
Scotty wakes up and taps the people next to her and says, I think we're being interrupted.
Well, naturally, we're gonna go out there with weapons. I'm gonna poke my head out and
Wait, if it's a sign, shouldn't Kex,
Does
friend?
Kex know their language?
He does know enough to, like, communicate the very bare essentials after having spent weeks with Orist, but like we're talking about a guy who has low wisdom and like if you go to China, you might pick up like a little bit, after a couple weeks, but you're not going to be fluent in it and all of that. He has no idea what was said other than weapon. All he heard was weapon.
Well, I do recognize at least that it is the Ursine language.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay. Cax will just hop up. Oh, Orst is here, and I just barrel outside of the igloo.
As soon as you go outside of the igloo, the Ursine all start to speak to each other. And then you understand the word friend. And then he points at your chest as you have the whale tooth necklace insigniaed with the mark of this clan that Orist is from. Having set out as an adventurer, he still carried it with him and gave it to you as a mark of friendship, not realizing that you would need it one day if you ever ran into his people, because now, instead of eating you for sustenance, they begin to motion that you should follow them.
All right, I'll holler at my companions, Ulf and Eric and Scotty and Jalevi. Just, I think they want to help, or they want to eat us. I'm not sure. Either way,
I
I'm
think they
going
want to eat us. Scotty's will get up and put on some clothes and dress up in her armor and let's go out and face.
Like, you also would have noticed that in his haste, Kex has obviously left his entire backpack behind. It's
Nice.
just sitting there half spilled.
Nice. The Ursine soldiers, while they are waiting for Scotty to finish getting dressed, see that you guys have, been through quite an ordeal and reach into their packs and hand you giant walrus bladder skins of some kind of liquid.
I'll take a small sip of it.
It's actually a little bit not warm, but like lukewarm, room temperature-ish, which feels very warm considering everything is just freezing cold around here. And it tastes just a little bit like apple cider.
Thank you. as Jilly takes it gratefully.
I'll take a much larger chug and pass it.
Oh, by the way, these are like bagpipe-sized water skins, so it's real awkward to like try and
Right,
get a
so
drink.
I guess we can both hold it at the same time.
Gather up our kits and yell, "Hey, Kex, you forgot your shit," and get ready to go.
Yeah, Kex will run in and grab his stuff, and he's going to offer a half a bottle of wine up to one of the bear soldiers, as they have offered us a drink.
The bear sniffs at it, and much as Orist has done all throughout the time that you have been traveling with him, refuses the wine.
All right.
Then he'll swap the wine for a gallon of mead.
The Ursine greedily laps up a huge chug of the mead.
Are we taking the townsperson with us so she can warm up too?
Leave her here to
think we should.
freeze.
Come on, Erna, you two. Not gonna leave you out here.
Oh, someone's got to guard the igloo.
No.
It's not going anywhere.
Viter seems very interested in these soldiers, and upon seeing Viter, the Ursine soldier looks down and smiles and begins to pet him like a little puppy.
Oh, baby. Julie's like, oh, I think they're treating him like the baby that he is. And Eric, I think you found immediate friends with your little animal companion. He's medium, but
All right.
Uh,
So the Ursine soldiers begin to lead you back to the village if you're all ready then.
Cold sounds like he needs to restart his laptop.
Oh, okay. We'll give him just a minute.
And we don't hear you, Cold.
I suggest everybody leave Discord and come back.
might help.
Can you hear us, Brian?
When she gets a chance to speak privately, Scotty speaks to Kex in a low voice and says, "Hey, Kex, that was a real lucky coincidence. I think they liked that amulet of yours." "Where'd you get that? Was it from your friend?" Scotty asks Kex where he got that amulet, since she noticed that that seemed to be what caused them to treat us as a friend.
Oh yeah, Ernst gave this to me. A couple months ago now, yeah. He was made a big deal about it. No idea what he said, but I think it was a sort of friendship token. I gave him my old cloak. I don't know what he did with it though. I never saw it again.
Well, that's handy. I think that friendship gesture just saved all our lives. We will have to pay him back someday.
If you've got any honey, he loves that.
Noted. None around right now.
I gesture to a single gallon of mead left in my backpack.
Aye, that won't last very much longer. Out of game for just a moment, when we went into lockdown, we had to scramble for stuff from because we'd been bicycle, and my big accomplishment was buying quite a lot of honey. So we have lots of honey stashed, and we can trade that for other foods if need be.
Oh, in Mexico?
Correct.
Oh, that's good to know. I mean, they still do a lot of trade bartering in the small villages.
Probably, but we also have made arrangements with our neighbors.
That's cool.
Is he rebooting his whole computer?
I think so.
Okay.
I suggest we keep going, and he'll join us back in. and we
Yes,
can tell him what's
exactly.
happening.
So as you guys approach, you see an archway made out of some kind of huge animal's bones, and each of the Ursine soldiers passes under it as they enter.
We will do the same unless someone wishes not to.
No. Obviously, even if it's a big arch, and even if it's open space, it's obviously a sign of respect or safe space.
I'm going to inspect the archway momentarily as we pass through it.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a knowledge nature.
I see Ulf doing that and say, "What do you think is so interested over there?" So,
You can tell that these are the bones of some kind of huge herbivore, like bigger than an elephant. Well, you wouldn't know what an elephant is, but like bigger than a bull moose. Like 5 times as big.
Possibly whale bones?
Nope, not whale bones.
Well, bones don't have to be that sturdy.
Yeah, these support like a multi-ton herbivore. All right, so as they walk you into the village, they walk you straight down to a tent down here. And there's a soldier standing in front of the tent, and he's like, "Rah, rah, rah, rah," and they're like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," and then he like steps inside. As you go to step inside, suddenly you find a large greatsword drawn and in your face. The bear roars a massive roar, and you can tell that you should not have followed him in here.
Tex will grab him and pull him back.
You didn't tell me not to go. gonna motion gesture with my hand, like I was just following them.
The bear roars again.
You should get away. Get out.
Gonna roll my eyes and let myself be hauled away by Kex.
Kex just pulls him away. Just like, no, no, no.
You're lucky he's holding me back.
I'll like get in front of him and just look at the bear folk, just like hands raised, obviously like surrender.
The massive 10+ foot bear, rippling with muscle and carrying the biggest greatsword you've ever seen, steps outside and kind of huffs and snorts in your guys' direction, making sure you back up. As you guys are finally back enough, he lowers his sword and turns and opens the tent flap as a old Ursine shaman dressed in all kinds of sacred relic gear comes stepping outside. He kind of places his hand on the Ursine soldier's shoulder, and you can tell that he instantly calms his emotions. And then he turns towards you guys and motions with his hand, and a fire appears in front of him, and you guys are able to get warmed instantly just from the light of the fire. And he begins to chant in a guttural ancient language older than Ursine. Eric would recognize this as the Druidic language, and as he finishes chanting, suddenly you guys feel a warm glow come all over you, and you are able to now speak with the shaman.
Scotty looks towards Kex since he knows these people. And Gilevi and Ulf and Ida.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
I'm back now. Yeah, they seem to take a liking to him. That's good.
By the way, they were speaking Druidic, which you might have been able to understand.
Yeah, you could understand it, but you were still booting up. But if you come down and to the right, you'll find us. Okay, so since I have realized that what magic has done, since I'm also a magic student, I say greetings. We thank you for your hospitality.
Oh,
And
actually,
welcome.
I just did that. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear
Now,
you.
yes.
Y'all don't hear me at all.
Yeah, I hear
Yes,
you.
we do.
Yes, we hear you.
So, as you guys begin to speak, he cuts you off, and he says, "What are the no-furs doing here?"
What's a no for? Is that our?
People with no fur.
Yes, I can hear you.
Is
Can
there
you hear
some-
me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, we hear you, but there may be some issue with somebody not hearing somebody.
All right. Kex is going to take like a half a step forward with a polite bow.
Chili takes Kex's lead since he probably knows more about the culture.
Scotty similarly backs up Kex for whatever diplomatic magic he's about to attempt.
As
Okay.
as the bear folk have absolutely no like way of understanding this other than like as submission, like the Ursine shaman looks at you and just like does what the alpha would do, which is goes up and nudges you with his muzzle. But this is a terrifying thing because like this is as big as any full-grown polar bear with the intelligence of a man, but still a full, polar bear's mouth coming right at your face and like nudging your head up.
Okay. Um.
Fairly certain I'd be used to that with Orst around.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna do knowledge religion, and hopefully it'll work, so I can see if I can understand this practice.
Yeah, it wouldn't be knowledge nature, would it?
No.
Well, druidism is, weird. It's part nature, part religion. It's really its own thing, which is why druids have their own language and all of that. But either way, this is about their culture. So it would be more knowledge geography, maybe, or like something
Okay.
along that lines. But either way, you guys would have no possible way of knowing what their behavior would be like other than Kex, who has spent some time with one of them, but the one he spent time with was an adventurer, so he's already different from the rest, so to speak.
Okay.
Well, he asked us a pretty specific question. Why are the no furs here? So, since none of you have answered quite so clearly, Scotty will say, we came here, we are here on a quest. Just short and simple.
What
Trying to be as
quest?
honest and
So I chime in. We're investigating the endless night and bitter winter because we know it's not normal, and we're also trying to find the Angel Grundian people to try and break the curse.
The people of Angel Grund disappeared around the same time that this stuff started with the darkness,
The long
and we think
the long night
we think
will last until the end of time.
you know of this long. What can you tell me of it?
The prophecy says that first the earth will be covered in ice, as it has been now for generations, and then the night will go black, and the world will end. Or the day will go black, I'm sorry.
right.
Okay.
That does rather seem to be happening now, huh?
Indeed,
Have
this
you
is the
seen-
end time.
But there
Have
must
y'all seen any other no furs around here, like us?
I have not.
There were more, but they were coming this way in a ship, and their ship was attacked and destroyed by a creature in the water. All of them died except for that one, pointing at Erna. Her we fished from the water just now.
Ah, yes. He is an angry one, the Leviathan of the deep.
A leviathan.
Leviathan is just any massive sea creature.
Okay.
Scotty looks around to her companions. Ulf and Jalevi and Eric, who know about this, not so much Kex, we haven't talked about it with him. And she says, we have heard a prophecy of our own that the long night and the end times are not inevitable. There may be a way to stop the long night and bring back the day. Are you interested?
He says, the true hero who wields the heart of the phoenix can end the long winter and raise the sun once again.
Yes, that's it.
We've heard it's some sort of artifact. Do you know who? Do you know who or what has it right now? Or where it is?
No one knows or can wield the heart of the phoenix. It is hopeless. A fairy tale told to children to make them sleep safe at night.
But it isn't hopeless. Not all the world is covered
I
in
said it's
ice.
hopeless. All the world is covered in ice. Look around you.
Well, that's what he says. Everyone go home. Out of character.
No, you should say it in character.
Okay, in character.
See? This no fur gets it. Hopeless.
Scotty speaks up and says, probably it is hopeless, and probably we will all die, but we are on a quest to try to bring back the day.
Then
I
you
eat
are
hope
on
for
a
breakfast.
fool's quest that will end in your death.
I eat hope for breakfast and shit turds of joy.
Even if we do die, we would prefer to die trying to save what we have. Not all the world. Not all the world has. The world doesn't have to be like this. We're trying to save what we do have. If it means our death, so be it. But we will try to overcome it. And
You don't understand. Everyone is going to die. There is no difference between how you prefer to die because it is inevitable.
We're all gonna die. Nothing you can do about
Ev-
that.
Everybody dies eventually.
You guys ever like hear the phrase "as grumpy as a bear"? That's just
yes,
just that you understand. Like you're not particularly angering him more than everybody else. He's just a really old bear who's pretty grumpy.
okay.
We might as well die saving the world.
Yeah.
Look at the
No one
I look at
lives
the
forever.
shaman with a grin. Just there's always a magic.
Jillevi, please tell this great one what we know about this artifact, the reason that my father was pursuing it this way.
Oh. Uh. You. Oh. You. Out of character. You want me to tell my backstory?
Right? Yeah, because it applies to this situation, doesn't it?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right, here I go. Okay. And so I bravely step up to the shaman and say, "My grandfather. He was a astrologist and Scotty's father was the king of our people. Um, when he a witch when he looked in the stars, he's and when he looked in the stars, he saw a darkness coming, and when he saw it, he was cursed by a hag. He had a ailment for many years, and he died shortly before I was born, and when I was born with the ability to work with the stars and with the void, and I think we do have a chance to beat this thing. A shortened version. If you need me to add something so he'll understand, let me know.
All right, yeah. So as the shaman is listening to you, he begins to chant another spell. Eric, you can roll your knowledge nature um, to see if you know what spell this is. All right, so you can tell that the shaman is casting a spell of um, blessing upon all of you guys, and it is going to basically protect you from evil spirits in this land. It functions as a protection from evil spell, and it also gives you resist elements. So all of you now are protected from evil and resisting elements, but as he does that, it's also a way of ensuring that you guys aren't evil.
Okay.
And I
So if
convey
anyone's evil,
as much to the rest of the party. I tell the party every.
Okay.
And as he does that, ensuring that you're not evil, he goes inside and he brings out a bowl, iron pot, and in it is herbs and incenses, and he starts it on fire, and smoke begins to billow out around you guys. As the smoke pours out around all of you, Scotty and Jalivi, you begin to have visions. Scotty, you once again see a giant mountain of ice. And this time, as you watch, the mountain of ice cracks and splits down the middle, and then everything goes dark. Jalivi, you see a vision of your grandfather walking beside Scotty's father, the chief of the Angel Grundian people, and they are walking through a giant ancient battlefield covered in the bones of beings bigger than even the tails of giants, and huge, massive pieces of armor and shields are scattered all around, bigger than houses and buildings. And as they march forward, you see a blinding blizzard come sweeping over them and freeze them all solid.
To be clear, this is the giant bones freezing solid?
No. Your people, the father and um, everybody else, and then your grandfather's ghost is just standing there with the wind and ice blowing all around him, and he points off into the distance, and you can see a massive blizzard just swirling around with white dragons and everything, and at the heart of it is the same giant ice mountain that Scotty had seen.
I take it they convey that to the party, huh?
We do. We tell our stories and visions. Does the shaman know anything of them?
The shaman says, "You speak of the graveyard of the gods. At the beginning of time, a battle was fought between the primordials and the gods, and their wreckage lay strewn in the hallowed grounds where we dare not tread."
So,
I wonder if that's where the phoenix. It was the phoenix feather,
The heart of the phoenix.
the heart of the phoenix.
so
I wonder if that's where it is.
that's what I was just about to say. I was about to say, I think if we have to go face the ice mountain, but it will be that's only I think that's what the visions are saying. The heart of the phoenix is in that mountain, so that is where we must go if we wish to try and save the world.
Where is this graveyard of the gods?
In the sacred lands where Ice Fang rules.
Which way is that?
North.
Scotty asks this great shaman, will you help us to do this?
I just did.
That's true.
He gave us the blessings. Will you allow us to take one or two of your soldiers to help us?
No.
Okay.
Who is
We're-
Ice Fang?
We're the only ones. Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. So, let me tell you about Ice Fang. Hold on 1 second.
Scotty looks around to her companions and mouths the word dragon.
Ice Fang is the oldest and most terrible of the ancient white worms, a two-headed monstrosity who rules a land as big as any continent that exists. His kingdom is the only thing that the ice giants fear. No one dares tread in his land, as his breath is icy death, 1,000 knives piercing into your skin, and he delights in tormenting even the mighty worms who serve underneath him as mere pawns in his empire.
That sounds scary.
He sounds like a real upright real upright fella. Let me tell you.
So how
when he
best do
said
we avoid
worm,
him?
I'm sorry, two people were talking. I didn't quite hear it.
Go ahead, Kex.
When he says worm, am I thinking dragon from?
Yeah, dragon.
At the mention
Worm,
of this,
WYRM.
I released my own breath weapon into the air. Just straight up, just as a demonstration. Not trying to hurt you.
The shaman instantly casts a shield spell, afraid that you were attacking him, and the Ursine soldier draws his greatsword, but seeing that it was a non-threatening gesture, they calm down again.
Don't
Not
do
a
that
fan of-
again.
Your greatness, says Scotty. How do we avoid this Ice Fang and his minion?
Sail south again, Nofur, where your people belong.
Okay. Is there any known? So has anybody ever fought the the white worms and learned of any secret caverns and escaped? I asked the shaman.
Everyone who enters Ice Fang's empire either serves him or ends up being served to him.
Does he have
Will you-
any weaknesses that are known?
He doesn't love fire?
Cool.
Will you allow us to pass through your realm to the to the place?
We are a free folk. The Ursine do not put limitations on others as you Nofurs try to. Everyone is free to do as they please. Your lives are yours to throw away.
We thank you for your help. And
And your blessing.
yes. And bid
In
you
your
well.
cider.
He says, "Not so fast, Nofurs. You will stay here and regain your strength. One of you is almost frozen to death," and he points at Erna.
Yes, please. We would love to if you will allow us to. Yes, please.
And
Yes,
so
absolutely.
you guys begin to spend some time here in the camp. And as you do so, various villagers come up to you and converse with you and tell you different legends and folklore, and this is your chance to ask any questions that you might have of people who have lived on a continent so separated from your own that there's not even maps or anything.
What kind of creatures do you encounter when you go hunting?
Massive woolly mammoths, as well as the megaloceros that you guys would be familiar with where you're from. They don't know that, but the massive woolly mammoth and woolly rhino and the giant sloth. I forget its name. But yeah, massive fauna like that you would find during the Great Ice Age here in the real world.
Are there any other villages like this one?
Us bear folk are the people who live in these middle lands and keep the ice giants at bay. We are very small still compared to the giants, but far more ferocious than you Nofurs. We all have villages scattered across this middle land, but you Nofurs live on the eastern shore. A group of you came here generations ago and just never left. You're like cockroaches.
You said east. I'm sorry. Out of character.
Yeah, to the east.
Okay. All right. And the giants. Where are the giants?
To the northwest and northeast. Ice Fang's empire is everything else in between.
Northwest and northeast. All right. So this village is in the center of the land, in the center of the continent. Ice Fang is in the middle between this human settlement and the bears. Okay, got it.
No. The bears and the humans live on the southern coast. The bears are kind of in the middle area. The humans are on the east. The west is ice giants, and north and west is ice giants. Then the whole rest of the continent is Ice Fang's empire, except for a little bit on the northeast, which is ice giants again.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
So there's a human village to the east.
Yep.
I think we should go there first.
Well, for what?
Well, if there's humans there, do we know that all of Scotty's people have perished? Did any boats make it to shore?
Yeah, but he says they've been there for generations.
Ah.
Although, I mean, there might be human necessities there. Maybe learn some spells, buy some gear or whatever. That's a good question. Do they know? Do you ever trade with the humans for things?
The humans and the Ursine have been sometimes allies, sometimes enemies. Together, we have forged bonds and built bridges and burned them down many times.
So, what is your opinion of the humans now?
You no-furs are not to be trusted, as you always try to put rules on others. But between an ice giant and a no-fur, I'd take a no-fur every time.
Well, I'll take that as a high compliment from him, and tell him we appreciate your respect.
Well, I mean, have you met an ice giant?
No, I haven't.
They have breath that could just absolutely freeze you to death. And it doesn't smell too good either.
Ice giants suck.
So, is there anything else anybody needs to know? Artifacts. Are there do the okay the earth signs, do they use artifacts or anything? Just because I'm curious.
Like, they have magical items, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. Well, perhaps I don't know. I'm thinking, see if we can maybe somehow forge an alliance with them to fight later. If we can build their trust to fight the Ice Fang people. But I guess Eric's right. We start to head towards the human village to try and get things we might need, or spells, or learn new spell. I don't know.
Scotty, I can't hear you.
Oh, is Scotty talking? Yeah, I can't hear
Be able to
Scotty.
return to this Ursine village. Perhaps we could offer to do them a service for their kindness. What do you guys think? This is
I
a
think
private
so.
discussion.
I think so. I was thinking about that and then forgot.
Can
So-
you repeat it?
Yeah, let's offer to do a service for them after we've stayed here for a couple of days and got all warm and comfy and they've helped us out. Let's pledge a service to them.
Yeah, that's what I meant by forging an alliance. That's kind of what I was getting at.
Exactly. Just that was at Jalevi's suggestion.
Seems like a good idea to me.
So since I'll tell the shaman, I'll say, in appreciation for your hospitality, perhaps we can help you out in some way. Is there something you might request of us?
Actually, yes. We have been very fortunate in our hunting, and we wish to share our good fortune with our neighbors. But due to the war with the ice giants, most of our men are gone fighting on the front lines, and we cannot spare any of our hunters to go and bring the food to our neighbors. If you would be willing to take one of our wagons and bring them our extra food, we would be grateful.
I hope I speak for all. I'm gonna roll a
You do.
diplomacy check. Okay. Hope I speak for all the party when I say we'll be glad to do this service for you in return for your kindness to help your people prosper.
I look over at Ulf to make sure he's not about to try to roll a diplomacy or talk to the person.
Yeah, somebody needs to learn silence and just secretly cast it on them before every diplomatic mission.
Yes.
Yes, we accept this.
All right, so as Jalivi is, saying all this and diplomatically attempting to let the Ursine shaman know that you guys would be happy to do this, the Ursine shaman is pleased and reaches into his pouch, and from his waist he pulls out a series of little bags, like a little leather bag, but it's only little to him. To you guys, it's like the size of a softball. But each of the bags is a pungent smelling bag of herbs and poultices. However, if you accept these gifts, what it actually is a periphat, not really, but the actual magical item that it's based off of is a periphat of health. And so now every time you guys regain hit points, you regain the maximum for whatever spell or potion you're using.
Okay. So should I try to do a roll to identify it or something, or just use, or will I know?
No, the only one who can try to identify it is Eric, because this is druidic magic items, so it doesn't follow the rules of arcane magic items. So Eric can roll his knowledge nature to see if he recognizes this. Yeah, Eric, you recognize that certain high-level druids are able to craft magical items using sticks and stones and leaves and other, hippy-dippy nonsense that you guys are able to basically each day you gum a little bit of this like chewing tobacco, and it gives you the power to regain maximum hit points anytime you're healed.
The herbs of the earth. I convey as I basically tell everybody in the party what it is.
Right. And we humbly accept, I say.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
And
Well,
we thank them for profusely for it too.
well, I'm gonna need a day or two to get the wagons together. So, you guys make yourselves comfortable, help yourself to as much walrus and whale blubber as you like. We got the cider, of course, favorite drink. We love that shit. And you guys can sleep in our spare igloo from where one of our soldiers got killed. Very sad.
Scotty
very
will
sad.
Scotty will politely ask if there are places about here that might be used and plants or any way to get good berries around here.
Berries?
Well, she'll use the whatever is the druidic term for the good berry spell, because we it also works off of pine bits. And is there anything here that works?
Oh, you must mean the frost nuts. And he kind of draws you a picture of a little shrub tree that produces a very hard walnut like nut that would basically be the only thing that would really work.
Right,
you
yeah,
do-
those. Are there any about?
I can send one of my hunters with you in the morning to go and scout some areas.
Great, we'll do that for the 2 days we're getting ready. So hopefully we'll leave with some frost nuts.
Maybe Vitor can learn some stuff from the soldiers.
And I go over and I rub Beecher's head.
And also during this time, Eric, no matter what you choose, the Ursine shaman and you end up having a conversation where he helps you go on a spirit journey and you get closer to your wild shaping abilities and you can see yourself wild shaping into different animals, and for a brief moment you can actually look down and see as your hands begin to grow claws and fur on them for a second and then revert back to normal.
Oh, cool.
That is interesting.
Are there any other magic users that maybe I can learn anything from, or spell books or anything?
There's not arcane magic users amongst the Ursine clans.
Okay.
They're all shamans of the druidic and cleric variety. However, one of the soldiers, taking a keen interest in what is going on with Eric and Vitor, does indeed offer to help Eric train Vitor as well. And as they do so, Vitor levels up and is now a medium-sized greater hit dice polar bear. So he's no longer a little baby cub. He's not a full-grown polar bear yet, but he is no longer like basically helpless.
Well, that's good. And he's going to help me train Vitor as well, huh?
Yeah. So you're going to get to train him with a new trick, and he is now I think 4 hit dice or whatever. So he's gonna have a greater efficacy in battle, less of a uh, liability and more of an actual asset. And also, though, that does mean that he's going to be taking up more space and everything from now on, too. And he's only getting bigger. And the rest of you take note of this as well, that Viter is actually getting really big. And in the couple of days that he's here getting fed all this whale blubber, he is like putting on the poundage.
Guess he needs to go exercise to build up some muscle mass.
Aye, this place agrees with him.
I think so. You're looking good there, Viter. And I'm patting lovingly.
Ranks!
Wait, he can talk?
Apparently, he is able to say thanks.
Awesome.
It just happened since you guys were here.
Because of the comprehend spell.
Nope, that wore off yesterday.
Cool.
You were the only one by him when he did that.
Okay. Hey, y'all. Viter's learning to talk. He just said thanks.
Oh, I'm sure
Hey.
you're imagining it.
I don't know. This place is mysterious. You never know what could happen.
Scotty agrees with Gillivy, and I'm pretty sure he's talked.
Okay, then.
Right. So are we done or are we moving on? I'm not really sure. It's
Yeah, well, I was just making sure that everybody had gotten all of their questions and plans set, anything that they wanted to do over these next 2 days, because we're going to pick right up next session with the trip to the next town with the cart and everything. So it's going to be a little more action and things happening. So I just wanted to make sure we got all of this out of the way. And then yeah, we'll be wrapping up as soon as you guys are ready to move on with the trip to the next village.
Are there any stones around that I can use for stone burst?
Yes, you can go down to the beach and pick up several stones.
okay. How many skills do I need to add, by the way? Because I don't really know.
I'm actually gonna set aside this whole next week. Any time that you guys have time, we'll go through getting you guys leveled up and all of that. So after the session, just let me know what day you would have what time available, and we will set something up.
Okay. Thanks.
Sounds good.
Good night. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, is that it then? Everybody's good with where they're at and ready to move on?
Unless Kex wants to go artifact hunting or something while we're
Count
not
of good
in our-
berries.
I wouldn't mind taking some of those stones and trying to craft their arrowheads out of them.
Okay. Yeah. So what we will do then is have the roll for how many arrows you can craft, which you can do right now. It's just
I can help him because I can help him.
Oh, you have craft? Yeah, by all means.
Okay, what type of roll would that be?
It's skills. So just click on your token and click on skills and then craft. It'd be just your general craft roll since you don't have, or you do have craft arrows? If you have craft arrows, roll that. But
Oh, I didn't put any points in it. I thought I did.
uh-oh.
It is a base for a sorcerer. I just haven't put any points in.
Yeah.
And apparently, I don't have any points in craft either.
Uh-oh. The bear folk don't really use bows. However, you are able to make several quality arrows. You have 5 stone-headed arrows that you can use the stone burst spell on.
Okay, I think Ulf is crafting some arrows too.
I think I'm gonna go with.
Oh, that was Ulf. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
I think I'm gonna go with Scotty and look for stuff I can use in my magic pouch. Come to think of it, just
yeah, I think I'm actually going to do that as a part of the next session too. So we'll have you guys going and hunting for frost nuts and any kind of things to replenish your generic magical focus items with, and then we'll move on with the trip to the next village as well for the latter part of that session. So yeah, we'll definitely have some more action and things to do there.
I would very much prefer the frost nut hunting happen between sessions, unless there's a reason, because it won't be the whole group. I don't want to split up and take people's time up doing.
Yeah, but I was gonna have a small encounter probably. Not necessarily combat, but just have something happen.
okay.
And I do understand where you're coming from, but don't worry, it happens from time to time. Every so often somebody gets a little bump in, 15, 20 minutes of extra time. It's not going to be the end of the world. But yeah, if everybody's good, Kex, you got anything you need to do?
Need? No. He's looking for things that would go for big prices on markets to the south.
Yeah, so they actually do have a variety of really intricately sculpted things made out of the tusks of woolly mammoths and woolly rhinos, which, like, I realize, like, that's kind of a faux pas today, but, like, they have plenty. These are huge, giant, massive tusks. So they have, like, really intricately and beautifully carved pieces that are like the biggest pieces. Some of them are just far too big for you to even reasonably travel with, but some of them are small enough that they're like, only 5 to 10 pounds instead of 50.
What do they
Then
want for?
shall-
Well, these guys are all about the barter system. They don't have any monetary money at all, and all of the metal that they use is a super, like, rare, cold forged steel that they use. And so, did I stutter? So, the things that they value are things that can make things or things that are good for getting food. Food is highly valued, but as they said, they've had an incredible hunting season. That's because everything is moving south away from this massive winter, but they don't know that. And so, what do you got? What do you got that they might want?
Let's see. I have a crap load of T-Rex meat. See, I've got T-Rex meat. I've got big friggin' signal horn. I got another gallon of that meat.
You got a signal horn,
Yeah.
and you blow it. They're like, oh man, that could come in handy.
It's up for trade if they want to trade me for one of those mammoth.
Yeah, so the soldier who is willing to trade you his carving trades you a carving of a large cat, some kind of predatory cat around here with a short stubby tail and huge fangs, and it's very impressive and intricately carved, and even has little bits of dye put on it to make the shadows stand out.
Kex, what are you going to do with a figurine of a cat?